We are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret society, opposed to secret oaths, opposed to secret proceedings, secret proceedings. No official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to know.
Welcome to Conspiracy Corner Podcast. This is Abe, your host. Today we are going to be covering part 3 of Alalu's adventures from Nibiru to Earth. This was honestly 2 different fans of the channel. They've been kind of asking for more stuff out of the Book of Enki. I'm not sure if I'm going to cover, obviously every story out of the entire book, but I've covered about 4 now. I covered the Cain and Abel story, and then this is part 3 of Alalu. So, yeah. But I usually start my podcast with an update. Today was a ridiculous day, man, at work. I've worked multiple jobs throughout my life, and it was the most insane, subtle insanity. Let's put it nicely. It was subtle insanity. We literally took everything off of a truck, off of pallets, separated the pallets onto pallets, took the pallets to each aisle, put all the items from the pallets to the aisle, and then that left us with enough time for each person to do one aisle of work, and then put all the items back on pallets, and then put it right back on the truck. It was insane. Literally useless insanity, because someone who was higher up decided that was a intelligent idea. So I worked a 9-hour shift and got 1 aisle of stocking done, when normally I would get 6 or 7 aisles of stocking done. So, and that was every employee. It wasn't just me. It is the most stupidest thing that I've ever seen in my life. And then they asked me to come in tonight on my day off. I looked at them. I was like, no, I'm busy. Which I am busy. I have to put a shelf together and do some work around the house and stuff. But it was the most stupidest thing I have ever seen in my entire life. But yeah, so that was my day. I am grounded by YouTube. I'm in YouTube jail. So basically I can't post for a week. So I'm still going to be doing podcasts, but you won't hear this until a week from now. So today is I think it's the 26th. Let me double check. It's the 27th now, but you'll hear it 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 7, 8, 9, 10. It's the 30th. You'll hear it on the 3rd or the 4th is when you'll hear this episode. So, hey, I mean, when I come back from my grounding from YouTube, I guess I'll just put out 10 episodes in one day from backlog stuff. You guys will be like, where's Abe been? All of a sudden, 10 podcasts back to back. But yeah, so I'm not sure I got an appeal in. I don't know if it'll go through or not. I don't know if that'll put me at strike one or strike two. I think the first strike rolled off. I guess they roll off. It's saying I got one strike. If when it says that I have two strikes, then I'm going to create another YouTube channel because I can't that, or I'm going to wait for both of the strikes to roll off and not post. I'll post on my other platforms or whatever, but it's getting kind of ridiculous, man. Um, it's retarded, you know. But that's the 1984 that we live in. So we'll get going though. This is part 3 of Alalu's adventure. This is the 3rd tablet of the Book of Enki. The fate of Nibiru is in my hands. To my conditions you must give heed. Those were the words of Alalu. From dark-hued earth to Nibiru they were by the speaker beamed. When the words of Alalu to Anu, the king, were conveyed, Anu, astounded, was astounded were the counselors. Amazed were the sages. By the way, I always give this disclaimer. This is cuneiform tablets translated into modern English as best that Zachariah Sitchin, rest his soul, could do. So it is a little broken here and there. So Alalu is not dead, they each other asked. Could indeed he on another world be living? They with disbelief were saying. Was he not on Nibiru hiding in the chariot to a place of concealment gone? Was he not on Nibiru hiding in the chariot to a place... Oh, sorry. Yeah, basically saying, was he not hiding on Nibiru? The commanders of chariots were summoned. Savants, the beamed words were considered. The words from Nibiru did not come. From behind the hammered bracelet were they spoken. This was their finding. This to Anu, the king, they reported. Stunned was Anu. The happening he pondered. Let words of acknowledgment to Alalu be sent. To the assembled he was saying. At the place of the celestial chariots, the command was given. To Alalu, words were spoken. Anu the king, to you his greeting sends. Of your well-being to learn he is pleased. For your departing from Nibiru, there was no reason. Enmity is not in Anu's heart. If gold for salvation you have indeed discovered, let Nibiru be saved. The words of Anu, Alalu's chariot, did reach. Alalu them quickly answered. If your savior I am to be, your lives to save, convene the princes to assembly. My ancestry declares supreme. Let the commanders make me their leader. Bow to my command. Now, if you remember, if you guys will have to listen to part 1 and part 2, and when I do finish this little mini series, I'll put them all on a playlist for you all. If my channel's still up. If not, it'll be on the new channel. But yeah, basically there's kind of a duel for the throne, kind of like what's going on in, well, what happened in the U.S. Sadly, Biden won. I mean, all the Q supporters are still like, oh, we still got a chance. I don't know, dude. I don't know. But yeah, a duel for the throne. So you'll have to listen to the earlier episodes to figure out what's going on. And I'll put on the back of this when I do post it 6 days from now. I will put like the earlier episodes that you can check out. Let the commanders make me their leader. Bow to my command. Let the council pronounce me king. On the throne Anu to replace. When the words of Alalu on Nibiru were heard, great was the consternation. How could Anu be deposed? The counselors asked each other. What if Alalu, mischief, not truth, is telling? Where is his asylum? Did gold indeed he find? They summoned the sages of the wise and learned counseling they asked. By the way, gold is so important to them because it will save Nibiru's atmosphere. Their atmosphere is failing, their ozone layer and stuff. The oldest of them spoke. I was Alalu's master, he was saying. He had hearkened to teachings of the beginning of the celestial battle he was learning. Of the watery monster Tiamat and her golden veins he knowledge acquired. If indeed beyond the hammered bracelet, which is aka the asteroid belt, he had journeyed on Earth, the seventh planet is his asylum. In the assembly a prince spoke up. A son of Anu he was, of womb of Antu, Anu's spouse. He was the issue. Enlil was his name. Now Enlil is basically Lucifer. Now I am someone who used to be a Levian Satanist. You know, if you didn't know that, I am not any longer, but I do still agree with Levian Satanism philosophy, not Luciferianism, you know. But Enlil is their Lucifer, essentially. But I've also heard people say the contrary. I don't know. It's all jumbled. Everything's inverted. Enlil was his name. Lord of the command it meant. Words of caution he was saying. Of conditions Alalu cannot speak. Calamities were his handiwork. By single combat and wrestling he the throne forfeited. If Tiamat's gold he indeed had found, proof of that is needed. Is it for protecting our atmosphere sufficient? How through the hammered bracelet to Nibiru can it be brought? Thus did Enlil, the son of Anu, speak. Others many questions also asked. Much proof was greatly needed. Many questions are required. All agreed. The words of the assembly to Alalu was conveyed. A response demanded. Alalu's the words Merit pondered. To transmit his secrets he agreed. Of his journey and its perils in truth he an account gave. Of the tester, its crystal innards he removed. From the sampler, its crystal heart he took out. Into the speaker he the crystals inserted, all the findings to transmit. Now that proof has been delivered, declare me king, bow to my command, he sternly demanded. The sages were aghast. With weapons of terror Alalu on Nibiru more havoc caused. With weapons of terror a path through the bracelet he blasted. So basically using nukes, he's just bombing the hell out of everything to get to Earth. Or wait, not now that the proof. Alalu. The sages were aghast with weapons of terror. Alalu on Nibiru, more havoc caused with weapons of terror, a path through. Yeah, he blasted. Yeah, blasted through with weapons of terror. So nukes. Alalu did. Once in its circuit, Nibiru that region passes, calamities Alalu is amassing. In the council there was much concertation. The kingship to alter was indeed a grave matter. Anu by ancestry alone was king, by fair wrestling the throne he attained. In the assembly of the princes, a son of Anu stood up to speak. He was wise in all manners. Among the sages renowned he was. Of the secrets of the water he was a master. Ea, he whose home is water, he was called. Of Anu he was the firstborn to Damkina, Alalu's daughter. He was espoused. My father by birth is Anu the king, Ea was saying. Alalu by marriage my father is. To bring the two clans into unison my espousal's intention. Let me be the one in this conflict unified to bring. Let me Anu's emissary to Alalu be. Let me the one Alalu's discoveries to uphold. Let me in the chariot to earth journey, A path through the bracelet which water, not fire, I shall fashion. On earth from the waters let me precious gold obtain. To Nibiru back it will be sent. Let Alalu be king on earth, a verdict of the sages awaiting. If Nibiru it will save, let there be a second wrestling. Who shall Nibiru rule, let it determine. The princes and counselors, the sages, the commanders heard Eas' words with wonder. Full of wisdom they were, for conflict they solution found. Let it so be, Anu announced. Let Eas journey. Let gold be tested. Alalu a second time I shall then wrestle. Let the winner be on Nibiru, king. The words of decision to Alalu were conveyed. He pondered them and agreed. Let Ea my son by marriage to earth come. Let gold from the waters be obtained. Let it be for salvation on Nibiru tested. Let a second wrestling kingship by me or Anu settle. So be it. Anu in the assembly decreed. Enlil rose in objection. The king's word, unalterable, was. Ea to the place of the chariots went. Commanders and sages he consulted. The mission's dangers he contemplated. How to extract and bring the gold he considered. Alalu's transmission he carefully studied. Alalu, for more testings, the result he requested. A tablet of destinies for the mission he was fashioning. If water be the force, where could it be replenished? Where on the chariot will it be stored? How to force will it be converted? A full circuit of Nibiru did pass in contemplations. A shar of Nibiru in preparations passed. A shar is basically the full orbit of Nibiru around the sun and Earth. Planet X. The largest celestial chariot for the mission has been fitted. Its circuit's destiny has been calculated. A tablet of destiny has been firmly fixed. 50 heroes will for the mission be required to journey to Earth for gold to obtain. To the journey, Anu his approval gave. So basically, Ea is going to have 50 astronauts along with him. The stargazers for the journey, the right time to begin, then selected. At the place of the chariots, multitudes gathered. To bid farewell to the heroes and their leader did they come. Bearing eagles' helmets, carrying each a fish's suit, the heroes the chariot one by one entered. The last to embark was Ea. To the gathering he bade farewell. Before his father Anu he knelt down, the king's blessing to receive. My son, the firstborn, a far journey you have undertaken for us all to be endangered. Let your success calamity from Nibiru banish. Go and in safety come back. So did Anu to his son speak a blessing, bidding him farewell. The mother of Ea, the one called Ninmul, to her heart embraced him. Why, after by Anu as a son to me you were given, did he with a restless heart you endow? Go and come back, the hazardous road traverse safely, to him she said. With tenderness Ea kissed his spouse, Damkina. He without words embraced. Enlil was his half-brother, locked arms. Be blessed, be successful, to him he said. With heavy heart, Ea the chariot entered to soar up the command he gave. Alright, so here's Ea's journey from Nibiru to Earth. Now this is the account of the journey to the 7th planet, and how the legend of the fish god who came from the waters was begun. With heavy heart, Ea the chariot entered, to soar up the command he gave. The commander's seat by Anzu, not by Ea, was occupied. Anzu, not Ea, was the chariot's commander. So Ea is not actually driving the ship. He who knows the heavens, his name meaning was. For the task he was especially selected. A prince among the princes he was. Of royal seed his ancestry he counted. The celestial chariot he deftly guided. From Nibiru it powerfully soared. Toward the distant sun he it directed. 10 leagues, 100 leagues, the chariot was coursing. 1,000 leagues the chariot was journeying. Little Gaga, aka Pluto, came out to greet them. A welcome to the heroes it was extending. To blue-hued Antu, the beautiful enchantress, it showed the way. By her sight Anzu was attracted. Let us examine her waters, Anzu was saying. Ea, to continue without stopping, gave the word. It is the planet of no return, he forcefully said. Toward the heavenly On, the third in planetary counts, the chariot continued. On his side was On Lying. His host of moons about him were whirling. The tester's beams the presence of water was revealing. A stop, if needed, to Ea it was indicating. Basically, hey, we're on a road trip. Do you guys need a rest stop? Everyone's heard that. To continue the journey was Ea saying. Toward Anshar, the heaven's foremost prince he was directing. By the way, you're going to have to check out the earlier 2 episodes to understand the names of these planets. But basically, they're going from Pluto, and from Pluto, they're coming inward towards Earth. So they didn't have the names of the actual planets. The Romans actually renamed the planets Pluto, Neptune, all that, Soon the ensnaring pool of Anshar, they could tell, his colored rings with fear they admired. Deftly did Anzu the chariot guide. The crushing dangers he cleverly avoided. The giant Kishar, foremost of firm planets, was next to be encountered. Her net's pull was overpowering. With great skill did Anzu the chariot's course divert. With fury Kishar at the chariot divine lightnings was thrusting. So I'm guessing that's Jupiter. Lightning. Her host at the uninvited she directed. Slowly Kishar moved away. For the chariot, that or it could be Saturn perhaps. I think it's got rings. So yeah, probably, maybe, I don't know. I can't remember. Check out the last episode. I have this all written down, but it's hard to keep up with. Slowly Kishar moved away. For the chariot, the next enemy to encounter. Beyond the 5th planet, the hammered bracelet was lurking. Ea, his handiwork, to set a whirring commanded, the water thruster to prepare. Toward the host of turning boulders, the chariot was rushing. So basically, they're rushing into the asteroid belt now, and he's using like a water cannon instead of weapons of terror, which are aka nukes. Each one like a slingshot stone ferocity at the chariot aimed. The word by Ea was given. With force of 1,000 heroes the stream of water was thrust. One by one the boulders turned face. A path for the chariot they were making. But as one boulder fled, another in its stead was attacking. A multitude beyond count was their number, a host for the splitting of Tiamat, revenge seeking. Again and again Ea the commands gave, the water thruster to keep a whirring. Again and again toward the host of boulders streams of water were directed. Again and again the boulders their face turned, a path for the chariot making. And then at the last path was clear, unharmed the chariots could continue. A cry of joy the heroes sounded. Double was the joy as the sight of the sun was now unveiled. Amidst the elation, Anzu the alarm sounded. For the path to have fashion, excessive waters were consumed. Waters to feed the chariot's fiery stones for the remaining journey were not sufficient. Oh no, it sounds like it's turned into gravity. You ever seen that movie? In the dark deepness, the sixth planet they could see, the sun's rays it was reflecting. There is water on Lamu, Ea was saying. Can you bring the chariot down upon it? Anzu, he was asking. Deftly, Anzu the chariot toward Lamu directed, reaching the celestial god around it, he the chariot made circle. The planet's net is not great. Its pull is easy to handle, Anzu was saying. A sight to behold was Lamu. Many-hued it was, snow-white was its cap. Snow-white were its sandals. Reddish-hued was its middle. In its midst lakes and rivers were glitter. Deftly, Anzu the chariot made travel slower. By a lakeside it gently came down. Ea and Anzu their eagle helmets donned. To the firm ground they stepped down. On command the heroes that which water sucks extended. The chariot's bows with the lake waters to fill. While the chariot was getting its fills of water, Ea and Anzu the whereabouts examined. So they're checking the maps while the ship is filling up with water. With tester and sampler, all the matters they ascertained. The waters were good for drinking. The air was insufficient. All was the chariot's annals recorded, the need for the detour described. With its vigor, replenished the chariot soared up to benevolent Lamu, Mars, aka farewell bidding. Beyond the seventh planet was making its circuit. Earth and its companion, the chariot, were inviting. So Earth and the moon. In the commander's seat, Anzu was without words. Ea, too, was silent. Ahead was their destination, its gold Nibiru's fate for salvation or doom containing. The chariot must be slowed, or in Earth's thick atmosphere it shall perish, Anzu to Ea declared. Around Earth's companion, the moon, make slowing cycles, Ea to him suggested. So basically come in through the moon, make slow cycles around the moon to get into the atmosphere. I don't know, I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. They circled the moon. By the vanquishing Nibiru in the celestial battle, it prostrate and scarred was lying. Having the chariot thus slowed down toward the seventh planet, Anzu the chariot directed. Once, twice, the Earth's globe, he made the chariot circle. So he went several times around the moon, and then he went twice around the Earth to get into Earth's orbit. Snow-hued was the third of the planet. Dark-hued was its middle. They could see the oceans, they could see the firm lands. For the signal beacon from Alalu they were searching. When an ocean touched dry land, where 4 rivers were swallowed by marshes, Alalu's signal beaconed. By the way, those 4 rivers, they're in the Garden of Eden. So if you know your Bible, I mean, I can pull mine out, but you'll notice that there's like 4 rivers that connect to the Garden of Eden, to the tree of good and evil, knowledge of good and evil. Tigris I know is one, but I can't name the other 3. I ain't gonna lie, not off the top of my head, but 4 rivers. Too heavy and large the chariot is for the marshes, Anzu was declaring. The Earth's pulling net too powerful, so basically gravity. For on dry land to descend it is, Anzu to Ea announced. Splash down in ocean's water, Ea to Anzu shouted. Around the planet, Anzu made one more circuit. The chariot, with much care toward the ocean's edge, he lowered. The chariot's lungs he filled with air, into the waters down it splashed. Into the depths it was not sinking. From the speaker a voice was heard. To Earth be welcome, Alalu was saying. But his beamed words, the direction of his whereabouts, was determined. Toward the place Anzu the chariot directed. Floating as a boat, it was upon the waters moving. So it basically turned into a boat. Soon the wide-ranging ocean narrowed, dry land on both sides, as guardian appeared. On the left side, brown-hued hills were rising. On the right, mountains to heaven their heads raised. Toward the place of Alalu was the chariot moving, floating like a boat. Upon the waters it was. Ahead the dry land was covered with flooding. Marshes the oceans were replacing. Anzu to heroes commands uttered. Their fishes' suits to put on he ordered. A hatch of the chariot was then opened. Into the marshes the heroes descended. Strong ropes to the chariots they attached. With the ropes the chariots they were pulling. Alalu's beamed words more powerful were becoming. Hurry, hurry, he was saying. At the edge of the marshes, a sight there was to behold. Gleaming in the sun rays was a chariot from Nibiru. Alalu's celestial boat it was. The heroes their places quickened. Toward Alalu's chariots they hurried. Impatient, Ea donned his fish chute. Within his chest his heart was like a drum beating. Into the marsh he jumped. Toward its edge hurried steps he directed. High were the marshes flooding. Deeper was the bottom than he expected. He changed his gait to swimming. With bold strokes forward he advanced. As dry land he was approaching, green meadows he could see. Then his feet touched firm ground. He stood up. By walking he continued. Ahead he could see Alalu standing, with his hands with vigor waving. Coming out of the waters ashore, Ea stepped. On dark-hued earth he was standing. Alalu toward him came running. His son by marriage he powerfully embraced. Welcome to a different planet, Alalu to Ea said.
We are as a people inherently and historically opposed to secret society, opposed to secret oaths, opposed to secret proceedings, secret proceedings. No official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to know.